So now you understand the struggle that I'll be going through, especially after lunch sessions. I'm sure the previous panel had more tough time. This time would be a little more easier in terms of it. So you may be wondering why all four men are here. That was not by design. It just happened. There was supposed to be two more people with us, but unfortunately couldn't join, and the moderator also had to step out because she was not feeling well. So looking at the topic social innovation and sustainability for a better future, we have eminent people with me on my left and right, and Sarkar bhi hai hamare paas, Robin Sarkar. So I will start with Robin Sarkar. We'll start with a small 30 seconds introduction, and then we will take the questions one by one. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible properly? Yes. Great. Thank you. My name is Robin Sarkar. Government se mera koi lena dena nahi hai. And I work for the Shiv Nadar Foundation, and I specifically working for Shiksha Initiative, which is a program to enhance literacy standards in government, elementary states of government schools, as well as making adult illiterates literate by use of technology. So we use a lot of technological intervention, ICT intervention, to make people literate as well as enhance education standard in government schools of UP. So far we have benefited more than 2.8 lakh elementary students and made more than 1.5 lakh people literate in UP. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Just to introduce myself as well, my name is Anthony Nelliseri. Currently I'm heading Sterlite at India Foundation. We work in the area of pre-service teacher education and data analytics for the administrator. So we believe sustainability can be really possible when teacher education is given good importance, so that when they become teachers in the school after B.Ed or D.El.Ed, they are in a position to make sure 21st century developed students are coming out of our school. We also support administrators through data analytics. How do they take data-driven decisions in their day-to-day life? The third program that we do is how do we strengthen the institutions like SCRT and DITE? How do we develop their capacity so that they can do what they're doing better? And we are working in 6 states of India. So over to Dominic.
Good afternoon, everybody. Actually, my main area of work or my forte is corporate affairs. They say when you get married, you're so happy that you get a wife, and next day when the doorbell rings and you open the door, then you get your mother-in-law, your father-in-law walking in. So basically, CSR came to me as an additional responsibility. I have attained the age of 60, so I had to step down, but I'm still as an advisor, and I still hold the position as CEO of the SR Foundation. All of you know what SR has gone through, and it's a 360-degree turnaround from a co-infrastructure organization, now more into capitals, and a few entities that we have picked up abroad, and we are trying to focus a lot on these two and making the world a better place, and the environment is at the forefront of our operations. Coming to what SR Foundation is all about, the pandemic basically opened our eyes to certain realities of life. And that is, we got a lot of calls seeking support and help for ration. Now this was mainly because from the interior tribal belt, we happened to come across a person who was a driver, tempo driver, and who had adopted about 38 children and was running an NGO, sort of. His wife and they used to look after these kids, abandoned kids. And during the pandemic, they had no ration. So we decided now we will have and support people so that we can eradicate hunger and disease. We also realized that in a village, if there is a school run by the panchayat or the local administration, so if you want to send them for education, you can always send them to the school. You have a clinic or a medical center, but where do they go for food? And we came across people and children begging literally for food. And so we decided, why not focus on, besides what we used to do in livelihood, empowerment, healthcare, there were so many other areas that we all, basically all of us are involved in some way or the other. But this was one area we felt that we should focus on. And I'm proud to say that we have really impacted several lives. I don't want to say the numbers, but we've reached out to orphans and we are creating a better future for such children.
Thank you, Dominic. Over to Ajay.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I know it's a very difficult time after having a session after lunch, but we have a wonderful panel here. Myself, Ajay Damodar. I'm program head. I'm like looking after program designing, strategies, etc. Our main objective, we started with something else, and as sir said, we plan something and we go into the fields, and there is another reality, there is another different level of need, and then we come back again to the boardroom, and our shift entirely, our strategy we changed. So we started with a scholarship program. The BMC students, those who pass out with the SSC standard with the higher marks, 90%, 95%, etc. But they are from lower income families, and they have been into the Hindi, Marathi medium, and Gujarati medium schools, and they really cannot plan or foresee the future. Career guidance, going into the IITs, going for medical, because they know there won't be any financial support, etc. So we started with that. Our founder trustee, Honorable Siddhi Jaiswal ma'am, very visionary, leader. So we are giving 36 student full scholarship. They are going into the IITs, and some of them are now studying in PACE, which they would have never dreamt about. But later, after some time, we realized these students are not at all, I won't say updated, introduced to basic technologies also. Most of them haven't seen the computer, they haven't touched the computer. Immediately after passing out the school, they have to do all the basic processes, filling up the college form, admission form, application for the scholarship, basic things. But they never have had access to basic computers, or they have to ask somebody to do it for them. So then we started with, we thought a lot, and then we did some research, and we took some data. Majority of BMC schools, government schools, don't have good infrastructure about science labs or maybe computer labs. Merely 4 or 5 computers are there for 1,000 or maybe 1,200 students. In Dharavi, we are working in 3 schools, and for 7,000 students, there was a completely shut computer lab with 5 non-functional computers. This is not criticism at all, because the whole point is there, resources, approval system, etc. That's a different discussion. By the time it reaches to the students, the 6th standard student is already passed out. So we are promoting digital literacy. We are setting up digital labs. We are training the trainers, and we are trying to give access, basic access to students. There is a lot of way to go ahead. Yeah.
Thanks. That was a quick introduction about who we are and what we are doing currently. Coming back to the topic, social innovation and sustainability for a better future. The first question to our August gathering, the panelists who are here are, a lot of initiatives we are doing it. Some of the things we have gone through our initiatives quite deep so that we are able to get a good impact. The number may be small. Some of the activities, like the way Robin, your organization is doing, Shiv Nada Foundation is doing in terms of volunteering program. Of course, how do we make that as a sustainable program? And especially for a better future, how are we trying to make that as a sustainable? In fact, there is a kind of sarcasm that goes on in the circle. I don't know how many of you have heard that. Sustainability for whom? Sustainability for the beneficiaries for whom we are working, or sustainability for the people for whom who are working for the beneficiaries? Who exactly we are talking about sustainability? Any of you heard the sarcasm? Not yet. So maybe next conference, if somebody asks, you can say, now you have heard this sarcasm, because that's what happens. Because we have worked so many years in the education, health, livelihood, but the type of development that we have made, either it is not scalable and sustainable, or we are not seeing, like earlier panel we talked about, it is not community oriented, it is not need based, because of which it falls flat. And so the real sustainability doesn't happen. So let us take from our experience and from our maybe specific initiative, how do we want to go about?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a very interesting part when we work on the field, and when we come across executing our projects. We often think that how will we make this project long lasting and make this project run before, even after when we go out from the system. So there are two aspects to it. One is making the program sustainable, making the program scalable and sustainable. The first and the other is how we can take this program to the community and let the community own it. So the first part is while developing the program, we need to keep the existing resources and the limitation in mind. Because for example, consider that I'm going to a field and I've created, even after doing some research on the field, created a program which needs a lot of resources, maybe 500 people to do that particular thing very spick and span and very effectively. But the government may not have those 500 people to work after me. I mean, after my organization is gone out. So I have to incorporate the challenges, the limitations of the program while developing the program, or make the program as parallel to the government system as it is, and solve the problem then and there within this by either using technology or by using some other resources. That's fun. Once you have incorporated that into the system, then second part is that you need to take that program to the community and let the community own it. So if the community is not owning it, then there might be a fair amount of chance that the program might roll back into something else, or might die out also. So for example, in Shiksha Plus program, our adult literacy program, we train volunteers from the same village who are not employed or are not willing to go out of the village for some other reason and are educated. We train them to teach within the same village, making the cycle complete within this own village parameters only. This way we have benefited, we have trained more than 2,500 youth who are not only learn how to teach using computers, but also have taken up teaching as a job even after completing the course or even after departing from us. So making the whole cycle reusable, re-executable. That's so. So the 2 points summarize. One is, while designing the program, please do consider the limitation and the resources available at that moment. Second, while developing the program, after you develop the program, give it to the community and let the community own it.
No, very well said. I think many of us, when we implement the program, we bring in somebody from outside, because they are expert, and they try to parachute in that village and they go back after 1 year and it is as it was in the beginning. So I think Robin, you have stressed on very critical 3 points. Use the available resources. There are so many volunteers, local resources available, develop them and work with the system, not parallel to the system, and the ownership of the community. Brilliant 3 points that is there. One question to the public or to the audience who are here. When do we plan for sustainability of the program? Last year of the project, right? Well, yes, planning phase. He used the word design phase. At the time of design, we need to think of sustainability, not after 3 years when the funders are asking you, okay, when are you exiting? Your sustainability program do not start that time. It's not even day one, at the planning stage. We need to know exactly what we are going to do after we complete the project, and who are going to own, who are going to take up. That needs to be very clear. Thanks, Robin, for that. The same question to you, Dominic. How do you look at this particular aspect of sustainability in the long run?
I basically believe that, a better future isn't about just technological progress or economic growth. It's about building a world where progress is sustainable, inclusive and equally accessible to all. We all have dreams, or at the beginning of a year, we get ourselves onto the boardroom and we say, okay, what should we do? What do we really want to do? But I think very few of us really feel, where do we see ourselves 3 years or 5 years down the line in the same particular program? I'm sorry to say this, and I don't want to hurt anyone here present, but it's my personal thing. Many view NGOs or foundations as money-making business. So don't feel bad and offended. Even I feel bad when I hear the same thing. For that you need passion. The previous session, somebody spoke about passion. And with passion, you never get stress. When we want to create or have an impact on the future generation, we need to, on a continuous basis, believe, promote, and finance, which is the most important aspect. Many of us hold ourselves back because of the financial situations. Oh, is it just because I have to, in the previous panel also somebody spoke that we are doing CSR is only because we have to? Should I want to just make a difference or be the difference? I think if we put in our thoughts to it, if we say that even if I have to take one child and see the growth of that child, support that child with continuous learning practices, building and empowering the mind for a better future, not only for the child, but in turn that will help society at large. And that comes when you are passionate about something. Many corporates go and try to sort of sponsor someone who's been successful. How many of us really want to get into the tribal areas or see where we can educate a child? I have worked with another foundation in Lucknow. I had been out just before the pandemic. And we were very impressed with the work that they were doing. And from there we went to off Delhi and we visited their campus. It was a beautiful sight that helped us to realize how we can adapt and adopt their style of functioning so as to enable a person or a child who really needs their support. Are we just holding hands or we are interlocking hands to lift somebody? When you interlock is what we are looking at sustainability. Helping that person grow right from the very early stage to its successful stage. It's not the numbers that is important. It's not at the end of the day how many lives I've impacted, but how many opportunities I've created for a better future. Innovations will come, but sustainability is only when you are very passionate and you foresee what I can do, not to make a difference, but to be the difference. And in corporates, we honestly have to fight all odds. Because a company like SR, we have so many divisions. It's very difficult to get that profit of 2% and 3%. And this is what we are trying to, make management realize the importance of being a difference and not just making a difference.
That's a very good point. You have to be the difference if you have to make a difference. And that the critical factor that is required is the passion within you. And that you can see in many of the corporates or any foundation or any NGOs for that matter. It can be easily seen. Some of the people when they come and discuss some of the project, you will know, is it with the passion the person is coming or is it a bookish language that is coming in. So definitely passion that can drive change. And if you look at history, any great change that has happened, it is the passion that has changed. Not necessarily qualification and degrees that has changed. So definitely, thank you, Dominic, for bringing that point of passion. You have to be the difference to make a difference. Over to you, Ajay. Same question.
So, being from a social sector, like having worked in NGOs for like quite some time, I myself in a dilemma and another sarcasm I wanted to like ask myself only, innovation. Do we need to innovate every time, like in everything, each and every project or like any aspect? We don't need to innovate, like sir mentioned about the quality and quantity. There are few things in order to make sustainable next society. For example, students are going to the schools, they are out of the family, they are away from the father, mother. There has to be some basic infrastructures, and no innovation can be replaced. Like teacher has to be there has to be like basic infrastructures, there has to be like some safe drinking water, etc., etc. So I completely understand the demand versus supply, or maybe initiatives, or maybe efforts are maybe lacking or something. But as a social change maker, we need to focus. Do we need to really go on the scale, or just take 5 schools and work really hard and give 360-degree quality education and make those 5 schools like very future ready? So I myself really struggle to match these standards, like scalability karna hai, at the same time quality we match karna. I would like to learn from you, like sirs actually. How do we get that? Like in Mumbai, in Dharavi and Govandi Amazed ward, we have visited recently. 7,000 children, 5,000 children, they are like passing out year after year, and the quality education and NAP, and I'm scared.
No, thank you, Ajay, bringing that dilemma in mind, because I think this is a question that goes in each of our mind. Do we need to go at scale, or do we need to go deeper and make sure impact in the area that we're working? It also depends on the type of resources that we have and the type of strategy that we have. We can always look at innovation as a focus. Not necessarily it is something new, but what means to address that local challenge at that time. And we need to go with that particular, according to me, we need to go with that particular bend of mind. Community has a lot of wisdom. It's not that we are wise men going into the village and trying to solve all the problems there. So how do we incorporate innovation in a way that we are able to bring in that particular local language, local knowledge? Like in the first session, it was talked about indigenous knowledge, bring into the fore, because that makes it more sustainable. We all talk about Indian tradition. We had a lot of sustainable activities earlier. Even simple thing as eating the proper food in the night. People talk about low carb and what is that? High protein and all kind of food, right? A keto diet and all kind of diets. Sorry, intermittent fast. And after that, all the what is happening to who is bringing sustainability in that? All the nutritionists and the doctors. But in one of the conferences in UK, one of the staple diet which is to be taken in dinner, any idea? Dal chawal. Dal chawal. It has been done after so much of studies. And we have been doing that one for a long time. And some of us who are with the keto diet and other diets and nutritionists talking about, we forget about some of our own tradition. So when we talk about sustainability innovation, maybe we'll have to look inward and see what are the good practices that we have forgotten, and we bring it to the fore. Coming back to the innovation and for the better future, there are a lot of impact story that we see in our sector. Whether it is a corporate sector undertaking CSR work or NGOs working directly, in general on social sector, there are a lot of challenges are being faced. What do you think is one challenge that our sector is facing, and what you can do about it? Robin?
So one of the challenges, which should not be the challenge, at least in this sector, is competition. People bring in money, bring in concepts, but then they want to redevelop the same thing again and again with a with a new perspective, and do not collaborate with each other. And that is where we lose resources, and we lose funds, and we lose time also. Many of there is ICT based education, and then there are many agencies. I'm not talking about commercial agencies, which they are here to compete with each other, but then there are many agencies who are not collaborating in the social sector, who are not collaborating just because their larger leadership ideology is not meeting up, or not aligned with each other. Hence, losing a lot of resources as well as lot of useful time in between. So the biggest challenge which I can feel is lack of collaboration among the NGOs, CSRs and philanthropies.
And very rightly said, I will park my point of view a little later. I perfectly agree with what you said. Let's throw the same questions to both of you. Yeah, Dominic, you want to start?
Repeat the question, don't mind.
No,
I have a little disease of dementia at this early age.
No, what we are looking, all of us have our own dementia and challenges. Sometimes we forget things. What we are looking at is what are the various challenges that are, a lot of challenges are faced by our social sector in general, whether it is CSR work or NGOs doing the social sector work, anything, in general we are talking about. What is that one challenge that you feel is facing the sector at this time, and what we can do about it?
Well, innovation is everywhere. The biggest gap we face as a sector is in the scale and adoption of sustainable solutions. There is technology that is existing, but the solutions are being developed. But scaling these innovations across sectors and geography is still a challenge. I would also like the challenge is not in creating innovation, but ensuring it is accessible, scalable, and integratedly, effectively across the country. I think the biggest challenge for any organization is to be honest to its objectives and goals. I have in my 44 years of work, I have seen several corporates. I've worked with very big corporates, but when it comes to CSR, if it was not for the law to be implemented in 2013, very few organizations really wanted to change. They only wanted to change probably the profit and loss of the organization, but not lives. The government came up with this, but today they still feel that it is a compulsion. We have to get out of that mindset. We have to get out of that mindset of that compulsion that I have to contribute and do things forcefully. We have to recreate all resources available for a better India. My kids are abroad, but my heart is still with this country. Why? Is because I see there's so much of opportunity in this country. We see day in and day out things happening around us. We can all start with the smallest of things. Maybe adopt an orphan. Maybe see a worker or the watchman, unfortunately, is born in that situation. Can we make that impact? We have to change our mindset. We have to be honest. As an organization, as a corporate, we have to have our goals very clear, be very transparent. And I don't think that is happening in most organizations. If we have a very clear mind with a clean heart, things will fall in place. Things will change. Do not get involved with CSR as a compulsion. Get involved with CSR to really make a difference, to be the difference and change society at large.
So he has brought up these points again, we need to make a difference. At the same time, clear goals should be for the CSR part of it. I'm sure many of you will agree with me or agree with us in general that when any CSR organization or any corporate, when the head changes, CSR, the focus also changes. Yes or no? Okay, many are agreeing it, so many are looking at it. So all those of us are looking at that corporate part. It is most of the time it is individual driven. Something similar you will find in the government sector as well. The secretary education or secretary health, they are too good. When the moment they move out, back to square one. So it happens. So it is actually individual driven. Whatever be the goals and everything is done, but that individual doesn't come at the right time at the right place, the organizations can be taken for a ride. Yes, Ajay, over to you.
That reminds me like one incident from my childhood. My mom used to say like there was project given in the school. You have to like put your cereals in the house and grow. So I used to put that mutter beach, and I used to every day take it out and see like has it like gone like after 1 day, after 2 day. So my mom said ki like be patient and give it a time, and don't just take that every day out and see it will die. So please allow me from on behalf of all the small scale NGOs, like we are very new, not as an entity we are new, and I'm talking behalf of all the new small scale NGOs. Funding and CSR category, we know like we need 3 years of compliances. Biggest challenge is like how do we survive in those like initial 2-3 years. And another very specific point, we were like challenged in terms of challenge. In earlier IT income tax rules, we were having exemptions under ATG. And now it is like no more. You cannot claim, you cannot give ATG, exemptions to the donor. That is biggest challenge to small scale organizations like us and like thousands of out there. And another point from the CSR, yes, that after 1 year, like where is the impact? Like have you done any impact? We have funded like nutrition project. We have funded. Sorry, like not don't take it personally, but in few projects, with few themes, we need to be patient. We need to go very basic and with numbers. Maybe like we can assure quality control, etc., impact assessment. But yeah, so basically, not all the projects, all and NGOs can give short-term impact.
I asked for one challenge. He has spoken one challenge at a time. So there are 2-3 challenges he spoke about. One is the focus on how do we manage as an NGO in the first 3 years to get into it. But with regard to ATG, of course, CSR cannot be given that. But ATG is still okay if it is donation outside CSR, that can be looked at it. Yes, Robin, you wanted to add?
Yeah, I want to share one learning from how we have grown from 5 people to 1,000 people. And one of the thing is, when we started very small, for Shiksha Initiative also, when we started very, very small, we were really, really passionate about many things. I mean, we really wanted to make difference. In fact, our internal motto was to eradicate illiteracy, as big as that. But the moment we grew bigger, our passion need to convert into processes. If that is not happening, your passion is getting diluted after every layer of management you add to it. Every time the leader works with passionately, with passion, then the passion needs to be converted into a processes at certain time. If it is not happening, if your processes are not getting developed, then your passion at the later stage will get diluted. That's one of my experience in sharing.
No, very true, Robin, that processes are very important. Passion cannot sustain when that number grows bigger, and it has to come in process. And what I used to discuss with my team is let us make it as an outcome driven. So whatever we monitor, make sure the outcome is focused rather than just inputs, because then it will be like any other system that has been going on in the country for so many years. So it be outcome driven rather than input driven part of it. There was another point that I said I'll come back to, Robin, when you talk about collaboration. It's very true. Collaboration is one thing that we talk about in all conferences, but doesn't happen anyway. Do you know what is the meaning of collaboration these days? Any idea what is the meaning of collaboration these days? Yeah, because I think he has given a kind of a clue, you follow me. I want to do, you collaborate with me. There is no collaboration that's happening. That means you support me type of thing. There is no co-owning the projects type of thing. So I think most of the panelists talked about how do we reinvent the wheel many of the times. And it's a waste of resources. In one of the earlier discussion I was talking about, we want to reach millions by wasting millions. And that's what happens in many of the social sector agencies. I'm sure all of us have our mobiles here. There are different parts of the mobile, right? The screen is manufactured by whom? This is a Samsung. How many of you have Samsung? The screen is done by Samsung? The chip therein is done by a different company. Whether you take Samsung or Apple or any company, there are different parts. If you take the automobiles also, engine is done by different company. If you look at TV, the component is not done by that particular the company. So why can't we collaborate similarly in the social sector? The moment we come from the profit sector to non-profit sector, there is a unsaid rivalry that is going on. Clash of visions that is going on. So I think that's where we need to come together. Maybe collaboration may be too difficult a term at this time, because that is one of the skills that is missing in general as an employability skills. I'm sure many of you would have seen that employability skill report that has come out recently by CAI. Almost 60 to 70% are employable in many of the degrees. I don't know, suddenly the number has gone up. Earlier it was 40-50%. Suddenly it has gone up. So what does it mean? The students who are graduating from our colleges do not have the basic employability skills. And one of the skills that many corporates or many employers talk about is lack of collaborative skills, lack of critical thinking skills, lack of analytical thinking skills. And how do we get all these skills? We need to look at how the school education focuses. So while many corporates are there in the country working in different sectors, whether it is education, health, livelihood, environment, all sectors, 17 SDGs, we are working on it. But how do we bring that collaboration as focus to get the synergy? I may be working in the area of teacher education per se. Shivnada may be working in terms of community-oriented education system. How do we collaborate so that that particular district gets the benefit of the whole thing? You may be spending from your pocket, we may be spending from our pocket, but how do we collaborate? Collaboration can be also from that co-funding model type of thing. So there are a lot of opportunities, a lot of ways in which we can do it. I think, sir, that is where innovation has to come in. Innovation may not be like, in our schooling system, we say it's very difficult to say this is innovation, because somebody or other would have done in some part of the country or some part of the world. It is new innovation for you because it is new thing for you. So even then, there will be a lot of things which we can creatively look at. As they say, 80% of the jobs that are going to come in 10 years, you don't even know what is job going to be. 50% of jobs that are currently available may not be existing in another 10 to 15 years. So these are some of the questions that we need to answer through the innovation that we can do through CSR, which may be in a pilot form. Many of them in the earlier panel talked about have a pilot and see how do we scale up. So before I ask the panelists, one sentence takeaway, I like to throw open the forum to the audience for questions. Yes, sir, please.
Two comments. One in response to what Dominic has said. You mentioned about that there shouldn't be a tick box sort of an approach to CSR, not looking only at compliance. And I think there was a very recent report in the media recently about KR Mills from Tamil Nadu, where the owner of the company has been doing this for the past 30 years without anything to do with CSR and CSR compliance. But this tells us that there are examples. The second one is really about the theme, social innovation. And I want to pick up your brains and even from the audience itself. See, we have about 110 to 130 million senior citizens today in our country. Assuming that only 5% of them have some sort of great expertise that can contribute to the social impact sector, what sort of innovation can really help the CSR ecosystem to tap, let's say even 1.1%, that's 1.1 million people out there. How do we tap the expertise that is there? Because these senior citizens have the expertise, have the knowledge, have the background experience, but may not perhaps have looked at the opportunities which the sector can come. I'm looking at this as an example of the probable and possible innovation that can come from a different perspective.
So it's a definitely very good idea to tap in the expertise of a senior citizen within the country. But it also depends upon whether as a vision we would like to invest in that or not. I mean, because CSR funds often come from industry, and industry often look at their funds and utilization or ROI or SROI within the same domain of their working. A computer company would look at in skill development or computer related things. In this scenario, we can actually talk to, or we can actually inspire the insurance companies and come up with their CSR investment into these areas. But it's definitely a very good idea to look at. In my capacity right now at this platform may not be able to comment on whether we should go in right away or not, but definitely we'll take inspiration from it. Thank you.
It's very true that I think we can always tap various resources. In our organization, we are bringing some of the retired people as advisors. So there is a kind of learning from their wisdom. And of course, there is a lot of rumors going around saying that the retirement age need to go up. So that when it's at the prime, when they can really contribute their wisdom, they are asked to retire at 58 or 60. So there are a lot of possibilities are there. And there are also small social ventures coming out where senior citizens are contributing in a big way. I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Intern, English movie? After retirement, the person is coming and helping the CEO of it. So there are a lot of possibilities. Only thing is we need to start making a move. Anybody else would like to ask a question?
It was not really tough to be awake and listen to, because you all had such interesting and very practical points to share. So it was a very nice panel discussion, I must say, at least for me. It was very nice. The two questions actually I have. One is, you talked about collaboration, so I'll keep the question very simple. What are the implementable 4 or 5 things besides the education and the schooling domain one can do in this space, CSR space, from a collaboration standpoint, considering all the stakeholders? That's one. Second is, from a sustainability standpoint, what, according to the panel or anybody in the room for that matter, is the role of the board of advisors, and should they be accountable from a sustainability standpoint as well, and how that can be actually done? So it's more from an education standpoint, I want to understand it, not from a challenging standpoint.
Like 2-3 points we already discussed. The collaboration is only the solution for that. Like, somebody from the last panel spoke about, redistributing or maybe reusing the laptops and, softwares, or maybe like things which cannot be used by corporates anymore. So redistributing that and the collaboration for that. So many organizations, many NGOs don't know like how to get into these kind of resources, and vice versa. Like corporates are looking for credible NGOs and compliances, but the credible NGOs already have funds and they can afford the thing, and those who don't have compliances, they actually the one who we need to revisit our approach, and maybe sir, you can add into that.
There could be infinite ways to collaborate actually. I mean, you need to be a little creative in collaboration depending upon what your resources are. As I just said, that you can actually donate computers or give skills to use computers further. Your second question was really interesting. And in my own capacity also, I believe that it's a role of a person who is from the industry, from the CSR industry or from the social sector industry, to actually not only graduate and make good programs for the company, for the philanthropy, but also graduate the board of directors in a right way, that this is where they should be patient about things and where they should be looking at returns in a certain moment of time. For example, within Shiv Nadu Foundation, we spend a lot of time in making our leadership also aware about where to stop asking for results absolutely right now. I mean, this, for example, education is not something which you can reap your benefits in the following year. You need to wait for maybe 2, 3, 4, and sometimes 5 years also. So it's a role of a manager who is in charge of the program, also to not only take care of its team, develop sustainable program, but also at certain given right moments, take its chance to graduate their board of directors also. And to the board of directors, my suggestion is that this is not business. This is human capital. This is social capital. You need to be patient at various levels. That's it.
So educate the board, don't get frightened of the board, and be clear about the details. Because the moment we know board is sure that we are grounded in the grassroots, then they won't come back to us. Sometimes they feel is we are not having the details, so then they start putting the detail. And the collaboration that you talked about is fantastic, but it's not easy to work. I remember I tried out this research agency network in some 15 years ago, getting each and agency to come with their specialization. But after 1 to 2 years, what we call as consortium project is not easy. Now it depends on like-minded people who are egoless. Most of us are, egos and logos come in front compared to the cause for which we are working. So if you are able to get like-minded people, that collaboration becomes more easier. So we'll take the last question before they ask us to get out of this place.
My name is Emma. I'm a child psychologist and educationist. With regard to the social innovation system, this is not a question, this is to compliment.
Okay.
So, being in the social sector, I always feel one of the key stakeholders who always strive to work hard is the people in the community, whether it's a tribal or an urban poor, a slum or a government school. So how much their voices are heard, how much we listen to their needs. If we want a sustainability, it's very important to do a proper need assessment before we start the program. And that's a very important. And from planning till evaluation, our objectives and goals should be aligned. And the community stakeholders are very important. And also creating their leadership. So what happens is we create a lot of expectation. Suddenly the money is withdrawn, the project is stopped. Total trust is broken in the community. So it's very important when we work in the social sector, listening to the needs of the people, doing a need assessment study, strategizing your goal, and having their participation is very important if we really want sustainable intervention.
Yes, with that one I think we will wind up the panel discussion for the today. Once again, thank you to the organization for calling us. And the biggest innovation is listen to the people for whom we are working and make sure the need assessment is done better. Thank you very much. Over to you.